America, and welcome to the first ever breaking news edition of the Dear America podcast. So we had an episode already done and ready to go. It was the Dan Crenshaw episode. But given everything that happened last night, and we just watched President Trump's address to the nation about the ballistic missile strikes from Iran.
Yeah, good timing, Iran.
Yeah, wow, way to mess it up. But either way, we figured that we owe it to you guys to have an actual conversation about everything that has happened as of late. So first of all, for those of you who may be living under a rock, last night, Iraq, anyway, last night, Iran shot, what was it, over
13?
13?
I thought it was 13.
Over a
It
dozen.
was a lot of ballistic missiles to Al-Assad,
Air
a
base.
U.S. military base in Iraq. So I'm going to read a statement last night. This was for immediate release from the Secretary of Defense. So it reads like this. Immediate release, DoD statement on Iranian ballistic missiles attacks in Iraq. Statement from Assistant to the Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs, Jonathan Hoffman. At approximately 5:30 p.m. EST on January 7th, Iran launched more than a dozen ballistic missiles against U.S. military and coalition forces in Iraq. It is clear that these missiles were launched from Iran and targeted at least two Iraqi military bases hosting U.S. military and coalition personnel at Al-Assad and Erbil. I don't know how to say the next one. I apologize. All right. We are working on initial battle damage assessments. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit here. There were no U.S. casualties.
Even though they're claiming there was.
Well, Iran.
Iran is.
So that's another thing. Here, let's play this clip really quick. So MSNBC ran false narratives from Iran about the murdering of 30
And from what I heard, they
US
had
military
two different
personnel.
sources, and they chose to go with the sources that
Exactly.
claimed
So let's
32
listen.
died.
Let's listen to that.
The second wave of rocket attacks have been launched from Iran. The IRGC was saying that Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of this country, was in the control center coordinating these attacks. This bit I'm not sure about, but the Iran state media is claiming that 30 U.S. soldiers have been killed in this attack. Now, this is not confirmed. This is just coming from Iranian media, but we have just stepped over the precipice, Chris. We have entered a very unpredictable time. We have to see what the response is going to be from the United States.
All right. So before we get into it, let's talk about the fact of what kind of respectable news outlets share things like this. MSNBC was the only one.
Well, CNN had that lady on that was like a terrorist when she was a kid, and she said America's going to regret this.
Made a serious miscalculation.
Yeah. Excuse me?
Anyway, so fake news was going on even in the height of the Iranian missile attack. So let's talk about the differences between when this was going on last night. So let's walk everybody through some events that happened. Let's talk about the difference between the left and the right. Okay, the right responded with, Americans don't want war, but however, we're ready to finish this thing if you really want to go about this. And so a lot of conservatives or a lot of people towards the right, Ben Shapiro, major, conservative figures of news outlets and things were all saying pretty much the same thing. Let's wait to get all the information. Even Joe Biden, surprisingly, came out with a tweet saying, I'm not going to make comments on this yet. Let's find out if
the facts,
pretty
true
much
information.
the ultimate sin had occurred.
That's convenient, though, for Joe Biden.
Well, true.
I'm not going to respond to this yet.
But, when you do agree with
It
the man
takes him
on
a lot
some
to catch
things, you
up
gotta acknowledge it. Anyway, so most people agreed. Let's wait to find out if the ultimate sin has occurred and an American life has been lost. If that had happened, that's what everybody was waiting on pins and needles for.
Yep.
If an American had died, we would be going to war with Iran. It's as simple as that. That is something. So many people are like, Trump's going to bring us into World War III. That's something you can't let go. You cannot let something like that go. Yes, that will lead to an escalation of force, which will then lead to another escalation of force, which will lead to a war.
And that's where the whole face saving argument came in, because with all the technology Iran has, they missed entirely and didn't kill a single U.S. service member.
I don't know if I told you or not, but I was talking to Graham and Sean last night, and my dad made a really good point of all the bases, those are the two least.
They skipped over
a
huge
target. One with Americans. So it was very strategic, almost like, I mean, that's what everybody's saying now. It was like they were just doing this.
And then lie to their people and say, we got 30 of them. Now everybody go back to business as usual.
They were appeasing their people. And I feel like they got lucky that no one...
All right. So the point I'm trying to get to here is that's what the right was doing. So let's talk about what the left was doing.
Oh, my.
So Nancy Pelosi puts out a tweet. Now, granted, full context of this, ladies and gentlemen, this is long before we knew if there were any U.S. casualties or not. This is her very first tweet in response to the missiles attack of Iran, of which she also ignored the vice president of the United States phone call. So that's another known thing. When the vice president of the United States calls you, you pick up the dang phone.
Wow.
She ignores the phone call. Do you know why she ignores the phone call?
Drunk.
She is at a restaurant grand opening,
really
drinking at the bar.
I was right.
No, that's true. That's a
sad.
verified thing. Nancy Pelosi was drinking.
What's
at
vibrating?
The bar.
What's vibrating?
So this is what this sorry excuse for an American has to say. All right. Closely monitoring the situation following bombings targeting U.S. troops in Iraq. We must ensure the safety of our service members, including ending needless provocations from the administration and demanding that Iran cease its violence. America and world cannot afford war.
Needless.
Why would the first thing that you say, why would it be a dig at the president? Okay, I've got two things wrong with this. All right, three. All right, so first of all, you really don't care about the U.S. troops. You care about getting your dig in and your retweets at the president.
She's one of the reasons we went to Iraq in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So why is that your first thought that you go to? Because you don't really care about Americans. You don't. You are a horrible excuse for a human being. Everything that Nancy Pelosi does, Donald Trump may not be the best person ever, but you cannot say that Trump is an evil person.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi is an evil, evil woman. Everything about her, everything that she does proves she has no moral compass of any kind. She's terrible. Second, in a time such as this, why would you tweet something that says America and the world cannot afford war? Why would you tweet something that makes, you're the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the United States. Why would you tweet something that shows America in any other light other than the strongest, greatest military country in the world? Why would you do that? The Democrats in office today, especially the radical Democrats, are so hell-bent on proving that America is this broken place and we are busted, pretty much. That is their entire philosophy, almost. And so, but I'm not done. I'm not done. So let's go to faces of the left, okay? Not necessarily politicians. David Hogg.
Oh, my.
One of my favorite idiots. David Hogg. Okay. His first tweet. Okay, you guys ready? Did you see it? Did you see it?
I haven't seen it. Remind our audience who he is, though, baby.
David Hogg is the idiot from the Broward County Parkland shootings.
Right.
He's the one that
somebody put money behind him to be a voice box.
He's a pawn. He's a pawn in the left's game to take away our Second Amendment rights. Anyway, David Hogg's first text. We've been bombed by Iran. So think about this, people. Go down this mindset. We've been bombed by Iran. All we know is that over a dozen ballistic missiles have been shot into U.S. bases and to U.S. personnel forces in Iraq. That's all we know. We're waiting to see if we're fixing to go to war.
Yeah.
Because we're waiting to see if our men and women are okay. David Hogg's first tweet, time for a really effing big protest.
Oh, my gosh.
That's his first tweet.
No.
First tweet. 40,000 likes and retweets.
Oh,
He's
my
getting
gosh.
tingly just thinking about
so
it.
I respond What a sorry excuse for an American you are. For 1 second of your life, pray for our leaders, pray for guidance, and pray for our troops for protection, not instant hatred, ... Wow. I had to delete my message about 3 times before I finally tweeted it. Same thing I tweeted to Nancy Pelosi, where she says America and world cannot afford war. I said America can't afford to appear weak, which is exactly what you are every single day in office.
Dang.
And you know what else would help is if we weren't the only ones. Like if we started a war with Iran, China would come to their aid, which means Russia would come to their aid. And that's because the left's fault too. The left has pushed Russia so far away, and anytime Trump talks to Putin, it's a huge deal. It's like, well, if we had all those people on our side, there really wouldn't be any decision to be made. Iran would have to bend because it doesn't have any allies like Russia and China.
That's true. I will say that I did have a glimmer of hope for our nation, because taking away all these big people, just go to your everyday Americans, whether Democratic or Republican or whatever party they identify. Flags were going up everywhere. Everyone wasn't saying anything political, just praying for our troops, praying for all leaders,
Americans
praying for our president.
Right.
Yeah, but that was encouraging to me. It was discouraging to see all the politics coming into it, of course, but that's, I guess, just what happens. But it was very encouraging to see the majority of Americans, no matter who they affiliate with, just saying, we pray for our troops.
Well, I don't know. I've got a different angle from that. I agree with you.
So my friends are better, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
I have come under so much attack the past week because I'm a warmonger, apparently.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, I'm a warmonger.
Yeah, they're not my friends.
No, I'm not. I don't want war. Okay, absolutely not. Do I ever want that? However, I believe that it is vitally important for America to stand firm in the fact that you do not mess with us.
Yeah.
Just because we don't want war does not mean that we will kill you.
Yeah.
Period. We will take you out. Do not get it twisted.
And
so
the Middle East is sticky too, man, because if we destroyed Iran, you best believe ISIS is coming back 100 times bigger. Iran being, because they were taking care of ISIS in Iran for their own reasons. We destroy Iran,
Power.
we got ISIS back. So and the other thing is we have all these issues here in America that warrant response, like the opioid crisis, Native Americans. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I get responding to a threat over there, but we don't need boots over there as much as we need to fix things going on already here in our own backyard.
And I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm arguing the fact that what a vast majority of Americans are doing is they are showing weakness. What's the difference between now and when September 11th happened? One of the biggest things. Anybody
unified? We were unified.
Are you talking about in the people?
Were we? Or did we just not have Twitter back then? So here's the thing.
But we lost so many American lives. I feel like we were unified because that was a tragedy.
Maybe we were. Maybe we weren't. There's a lot of people who believe that, I'm not getting into conspiracies today. What I'm saying is, here's what I think is a major problem going on right now is social media is great. Obviously, we're here talking to you because of social media. However, it has a lot of people who make no decisions about anything, voicing their opinions and dividing the country even more, myself included. I have to be very careful what I say and what I do now, especially in heightened times such as Iran. So my original tweet that I posted everywhere, I took it down. And the reason why I took it down, because after rereading it and reading some of the comments, I realized that I wasn't getting across the message that I really wanted to get. People were getting angry, not at me. They were like, it was starting a conversation that I didn't want. So I redid it and I said, no American is pro-war, but you better be pro-America, pro-troops, and pro-freedom.
Right.
Pray for our leaders to make the right choices and pray for our troops. And then I said in the caption, dear God, we ask for guidance, your strength, and your discernment for our leaders. No one, myself included, it doesn't matter how much military experience you have. If you are not on Trump's defense council, if you're not in those intel meetings and all this stuff, you don't know what
you don't
they
have
know.
all the information.
You don't have all the information. So it's times like this where we as Americans need to stick together and put our trust in the leaders that we've elected.
And pray for them.
And pray for
that's
them
what
to
me
make
and
the right
Jake
decision.
and I talked to y'all last night too. That's one of the things you're not really going to know everything because you're not in the inner circle.
Exactly.
So we can give our opinions, but we still don't know everything.
We talked about about why Soleimani was in Iraq in the first place.
Yeah.
He's an Iranian general, but he's at the Baghdad airport, or how we were told in advance about the ballistic missiles heading our way. That's why no casualties happened.
Right.
It's like there's just weird details like that.
So to remember though, they've been working on this, the media made it sound like to me, well, Trump just did this and that was it and it's over. No, they have been working on this with
Soleimani was
intel.
planning an attack that could have killed a lot of Americans.
Right.
Speaking of Soleimani, you want to talk about horrific establishments. Time magazine tweets this out.
we saw
Okay,
that.
this is real. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a real tweet from Time magazine.
Kind of pisses me off. To be
If,
honest
Yeah,
with
me
you.
too.
Well, this
I'll
is what it
second
says
that.
for those of you who don't know, and we'll put a picture of it right here. If you need help talking with the children, it's a weird phrase anyway. If you
The
need
children.
if you need help talking with the children in your life about the I can't even read. I'm so mad. Let me try it one more time. If you need help talking with the children in your life about the aftermath of Iranian General Soleimani, I don't know his first name, killing. All right. So basically, if you need help talking to your
struggling
kids,
with this.
I am struggling. Well, it's not the best written thing. If you need help talking with your children in your life about the aftermath of Iranian General Soleimani's killing, Time for Kids has a guide to explaining the topic.
Yeah, that truly blows my mind.
So if you need help explaining to children, I guess, about the horrific death of this general, here's a guide. Hold on. New York Times. Here we go. Knowing General Soleimani was out there made me feel safer, said a student about the commander killed in an American drone strike.
Okay, but
He was like a security umbrella above our country. What? Foreign policy.
Those poor brainwashed people.
that's what I have to believe, that they have no idea what they are actually talking
Americans painted him as a hardliner, but for Iranians, Soleimani was an apolitical patriot. This is a blatant and complete lie. People were celebrating in the streets
Yes.
that this monster of a human is dead.
And if
Hold
you
on,
listen
we're
to
not
Trump's
done.
speech, though, he said he has blood of Americans, and then he also has blood of his own country.
Yeah, and
so
Iraqis.
it's
All right,
just,
AP. All right, Associated Press. Iranian leaders, I guess it's either tears or tears, a sign of respect for slain general. Let's see. Dr. Gina texted this. The Iowa poll. Soleimani now in a 5-way tie in Democratic Party primary with Biden,
Nice.
Sanders, Warren, and Buttigieg.
Yeah.
that's terrible.
funny.
That's not.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is what's going on in America. And a lot of people get mad at us because they're like, all you do is talk about the bad stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you need to know what's actually going on.
I don't think of it as, because I'm kind of in a weird, because I like to be like the optimistic, more perky one of the group. But I think it's more so shedding light on evil.
Yes.
I don't look at it like the bad stuff. I look at it as, hey, we need to be the light, and you have to know evil if you're going to fight it and be a light to it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Can't
get it.
ignore it.
So let's
Right.
fast forward
And you
back
shouldn't.
on track here. So last night, everybody thought that the president was going to hold an emergency address the nation last night. And then it came down about 9 o'clock or so that he would not be addressing the nation, that he would address the nation this morning.
There's no casualties, which is probably why.
There was no casualties. Yeah, so we figured that out last night. There was no casualties, which in my mind, and we'll get into what the president says in a minute, in my mind, that means, by God, we won. Like we win. Iran
sure.
is so inept that they can't even kill anybody.
That's your.
No, I think that was a
equal?
strategic attack.
It was a strategic
Yeah.
attack. So let's be very clear here. This was a save face with your own people
Absolutely.
action by Iran. Okay, there is no way that Iran missed every single U.S. service member with 12 to 13 ballistic missiles. There's no way that happens.
Part of me thinks that we should just roll with their lie. Like, yep, 30 of us died. Go back to
go turn it into a parking lot.
We're
Anyway,
blowing the lid off the secret.
all right. So why? A lot of people would ask the question: why would anybody do that? Why even do it? Well, because Iran has politics just like we do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, their leaders can't lose the people per se, and so you can't just let your top general get taken out and not do anything. So, but they also know that Donald Trump has said, if you hurt a single
One
American,
American.
we are going to rain down an godly fire down upon you. And like that Medal of Honor recipient said, someone else will raise your sons and daughters. Period.
Yeah, that was
Period.
That was a
That's
statement.
what will happen. So what do you do if you're Iran? Every strategic expert has said it time and time again. Iran cannot support a full-out war with America. They can't. Can they fight back initially for a little bit? Of course they can, but they cannot support a all-out troops on ground war.
They want their power more than anything.
Yeah, they can't do that. So what do you do to save face?
Exactly what they did.
Exactly what they did. Is it the most technically difficult situations ever to kind of pick through? But this is countries we're talking about. We're not talking about one person versus one. These are countries. Yeah. Right? Countries. Everybody thinks that their country is the best country in the world. All right, even though if they know that it's not. All right, every leader of every country, let me rephrase, every leader of every country thinks that their country is the greatest country in the world. Right. So you have to do things to save face. So let's go ahead.
And real quick, whenever your country is ran off of your religion, like they're the Islamic
and fear. Their countries ran off fear and intimidation and power as well.
Yeah, we're going like medieval, Sharia. Death to America because of what our prophet says. It's like, that's not democracy and peaceful logic. It's hard to deal with people like that are willing to blow themselves up to go to heaven, for their God. It's frustrating.
Right. And so that's why they would do it.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready for the president's address this morning.
Yep.
And it's all over the internet. It's everywhere. People have been saying it for weeks. Trump is going to take us into World War III. They've been predicting it since Trump took office. Every major Democratic leader has jumped on it. AOC and Ilhan Omar have even tried to put a resolution together. We'll talk about that in the Dan Crenshaw episode on Monday to prohibit his powers to go to war with Iran if need be. They are so afraid that Trump is such a hothead, so unpredictable, and so underqualified to be the leader of the free world that he is getting ready to take us into war. So we wait. They announce it at 11 Eastern time, 10 our time, that the president's going to be addressing the nation in common President Trump form. He got there about 25 minutes late. That's right. Because he likes to leave the people guessing. Actually, I think he does it just because he hates the fake news so much. He does it just to tick them
or
off.
he's really busy.
Yeah. Well,
that'd be mine, but whatever.
I think no, because they've been planning that from the get-go. I truly think President Trump is like, if I stall long enough, they're going to run out of stuff to talk about on there and look stupid. So let's just do that. Anyway, so President Trump, the doors open. President Trump walks out, and this is the very first thing he says.
As long as I'm president of the United States, Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
He comes out with a haymaker
bold
punch
statement.
All right. But then the rest of the speech, first 5 minutes, well, actually, like first 3 minutes, is a really short speech. First 3 minutes, he basically talks about the fact that nothing happened at all. Iran spent some money shooting some missiles out. That cost them a little bit of money. Yeah. No damage, no lives lost, no nothing.
Well, there was some damage.
Well, but
he said it wasn't like huge damage. But I mean, there was some
right, exactly. That's what I mean.
Well, didn't they shoot a drone?
Well, that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. Yeah. And so, which is considered an act of war, by the way. But either way, moving forward, he pretty much spent the first 3 or 4 minutes talking about how inept Iran actually is. They're so, and then he bashes the Obama administration.
Oh, man, that was
so brutal. Here, listen to this.
They chanted death to America the day the agreement was signed. Then Iran went on a terror spree, funded by the money from the deal, and created hell in Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Afghanistan, and Iraq. The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration.
I I mean, the president is the most savage
He is.
person
That was
ever.
oof.
It's true.
It's very true. A lot of people even said that $80 million bounty was out of that $1.4,
Yeah.
$1.7 billion in unmarked bills that Obama sent. But I digress. Right? Also, really quick, there were a lot of other weird things that happened as well. He didn't address this per se, but I think it needs to be addressed. You want to talk about a place that the Lord hates? It must be Iran. Okay, because not only did Iran shoot missiles last night, they also had 2 earthquakes, a 4.9 and a 5.5, and a Ukrainian plane crashes in Iran, killing all members aboard, 170, 180
Yeah, that
people.
was sad.
All right. I think they did that.
Iran.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I think either inadvertently a missile hit it or something like that, because it was climbing and gone. Just like that.
Yeah.
Like crashed. And
So I got a friend on Instagram from Canada, and she said her liberal coworkers said that Trump shot the plane down and it's going to get the world into a war and get Canadians into the war. Like Trump's going to get us all killed.
people are so
Fake news.
stupid. man.
Unbelievably stupid.
People are so stupid. Canada. Never mind. I'm going to hold it back.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you have some Canada fans. Yeah, just
and
take
God
a
love
deep
you
breath,
for it.
move forward.
It's
Yeah.
really easy to talk crap when you've got a majestic fence around your country
That's so
called the
true.
United States. But either
So
way,
true.
either way, moving on.
Yeah.
So the president then spends pretty much the rest of the speech talking about how horrible Soleimani was and how it was the right thing to do. And we have done exactly what we need
And
to
how
do.
they knew in advance he was planning
Another attack.
Yeah. And basically, we would not be going to war. We would not retaliate or escalate because no lives are lost. But what we would do is we would continue the horrific sanctions on Iran.
I mean, imagine if that attack did happen, like Soleimani killed like 1,000 Americans that next day. And you could tell liberals like, hey, we can go back in time and kill him. Like, would they still have the same hatred for Trump?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, they would. I
the
think
answer
so.
is yes.
Which that, is illuminating.
The answer is
Yeah,
yes.
it is.
They hate Trump more than they love America, and they
American
love terrorists
lives.
more than they like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I'm sorry, I can't help it, but this keeps blowing my mind. Is how people are coming to the defense. Americans are coming to the defense of a terrorist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Well,
I hate the Raiders.
I don't call the far left Dems Americans anymore. I know legally they are for everybody. That Grandma says people. Yes, I get it. Legally they are. Morally and eternally in their soul, no, they're not Americans.
Yeah. I hate the Raiders more than any football team. And if they're playing a team that gets a penalty, I'm with the other team. No matter what. No matter if I see it in real life, I'm like, no, the Raiders.
Yeah, no, it doesn't count.
But that's not real life. That's a game.
No, but that's how the Dems are.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just tweeted this, and I think it needs to be read in response to what Trump did. So it starts off with the left. Trump will lead us to World War III. Trump shows restraint, tactical proficiency, and what a true leader looks like in the face of the Iran crisis. The left, crickets.
Yeah,
Absolutely nothing. Donald Trump is the leader America needs.
I agree.
And it is driving the left crazy.
And look, I hear-
Donald Trump just won 2020 from his response today.
And I hear a lot of personal attacks like, well, he's so arrogant, or he hates this, or he hates
Who
that.
gives a crap?
But that's kind of like,
He stinks.
he is who America needs for right now. You know, in 10 years, he may not be at all who America, but for right now, he's who America needs, and he is leading. He's not a hothead. He came out, and I think he made them mad because, he's like, no, I think we did what we needed to do, and it was tactical.
A truly great American president. And if you try to say Obama, then you're an idiot in the first place. Show me a truly great American president that would not thunder slap you if you needed it. Show me one.
Yeah.
I will wait. I will send in your submissions and show me a passive American leader that was a great American president. Show them to me. I'll wait. Ronald Reagan, you think Ronald Reagan would not slap you in the back of your head if you needed to be? Ronald Reagan would lay the smack down
But
on
the
people.
thing is,
George
Washington
would cut people's heads off, walk back into
Whatever.
the White House. I'm just being for
But
real.
the thing is, Trump prevented a war. That's what he
I'm
didn't
talking
start
about people that have a
one.
problem with his demeanor.
No,
That-
I
that's
don't
what I'm
care
talking
about. That's the thing. I'm over caring about his demeanor.
Yeah.
He is proven to be a good leader for where we are at now,
Yeah.
and it irritates me that people keep trying to pray for him instead. Like,
I
why
will
do
say-
you keep
I will
wanting
say
him to
this,
fail?
Because I have actually met the man in person now. It was a very short
Keep
conversation.
bringing that up.
I will bring that up.
Here we
for
go.
That in.
I met the president. In case you guys didn't know that. Anyway,
Oh, they will
I'm
on
happy
Monday.
for you.
Yeah.
the
I am too.
the president when he's in president mode is a completely different man
Right.
than Donald Trump, the man,
Right.
which is completely necessary. Any leader will any good leader ever. You have to be able to separate the two. There's a leader, like when you're in front of the troops per se, or in front of Americans, whoever you're in charge of protecting. There's a different persona
Absolutely.
than the man or the woman. Even it's the same thing.
Business.
Parents, there's a different man as Graham the parent as Graham the person.
That's in every job. As
Right.
Alyssa the counselor, as Alyssa friend. I mean,
Correct.
that's just different roles.
What I'm getting at is Donald Trump, the person, is a very caring, very intuitive listener to what you have to say. He's not this arrogant person. He's from New York. And by God, if he needs to turn his New York on, he's going to turn his New York on. And he's going to win at the savagery every single time.
Yeah.
And I think people are so sensitive today that they misconstrue a real leader as arrogant and pompous.
Yeah.
Well, he may be a little
and harsh
arrogant.
and cold. What do you want? Do you
Yeah.
really want a president that's like hugs and kisses all the time?
Personality, though, to me, who cares? Like, at this point, like, look at what he's done. You can't argue with that.
And look at who he has to talk to around the world. The leaders like Putin,
Yeah.
leaders of all these other
Yeah.
countries. Like, oh, we shouldn't be arrogant.
Well, tons of people,
okay.
though. Nikki Haley, I mean, the list goes on and on and on of, hey, we have these conversations. He is very respectful. He listens. And he truly goes by the people surrounding him.
Right.
Yeah.
He listens to them.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is Donald Trump in front of the national media is a completely different person than behind closed doors
Yeah.
with people that honestly he knows are like, not there to trip him up. Right.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's all I'm trying to say. So at the end of it all, he took no questions. He said what he said and he walked out. I think that Donald Trump's handling of this Iran situation, I think that he, again, just even more added to the landslide victory that's going to happen in 2020. I agreed with everybody else. If he took us to war, he'd be in some serious trouble because nobody wants it.
Yeah.
Now, this is just, I'm not saying that if things keep deteriorating over the next year or so like that we may not be in some kind of situation. But as of right now, Donald Trump made every single right step that he could possibly
Very
make.
tactful.
Very tactful, very precise, very intentional. Everything that he did. And he handled it just amazingly well. And now you've got all these left politicians and left talking heads that look stupid again because they just knew what Donald Trump was going to do. Oh, this was all part of the plan.
Yeah. Time for a huge protest.
Yeah, time for, oh my gosh.
For what? What are we
I
protesting?
am
I'm like,
not.
what are we even protesting?
Yeah, dummy.
No war? Like,
I
what
would
is he?
love to get David Hogg if you're listening, and I doubt it because you're a coward.
Please, come
Anyway,
on the
I would
show.
love for you to come on the show.
Christmas for
It would be Christmas for me, just to have a conversation. You would be treated with respect. I would not talk aggressively to you, but I would love to just hear how your confused little mind actually works. Because
respectful.
Respectful of
I
your
would.
squirrel-sized brain.
squirrel peanut-sized mind, what it would be like. AOC. I would bring AOC in and I would give her the first 15 minutes to speak and I wouldn't say a word
Yeah.
because I would be in true awe.
I did tell Jake,
And
I've
of
noticed
how
that
her
she's
mind
been
works.
very quiet lately. Has anybody else noticed that?
No, she's got one of her staff members tweeting for her. There's a difference. There is a difference. You can tell when AOC in the middle of the night tweets something as opposed to when one of her
staffers
staff
do it.
members does
Maybe
it.
she got
Because
forbidden
when
to
her
tweet.
staff members does it, even though it's confused ideology, it's still very well worded, very, spelled out the correct way. When AOC has a glass of wine and she's out there talking about, World War IIs and all this other kind of stuff, it's just completely different kind of stuff.
I think at the end of the day, like last night was kind of freaky. We were all on, a little
and needles.
tense, pins
Yeah.
and needles, and We can all kind of breathe, hopefully, at least for now.
Yeah, well,
breath of fresh
anytime
air.
something like that happens, I don't know. And there were so many people that I know that just didn't even know what was going on. It's crazy to
And
me.
the news media, I mean, they were just, that's what they live for. You know,
Right.
big things like that, and they amp it up, and tensions are running high, blah, 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 and then it all fizzles out the next morning, and Trump kind of saves the day.
Yeah, we
So,
move on. But the point is, we wanted to bring this episode to you. We were left scrambling a little bit last night because we had the Dan Crenshaw episode ready to go, but we just felt it was important to talk about what was going on from a real perspective of things.
So we'll release Crenshaw next Monday.
Dan Crenshaw's episode will be Monday, but this is what's going on, America. This is the battle outside of the battles of against other countries.
Yeah.
We have an internal battle within our own country
Yeah.
of misinformation and divide simply because of a hatred for a man, not because of his policies, not because of his proven wins and victories. They just simply don't like him.
Yeah.
And because of that, they are dividing our country intentionally, spreading lies.
And hoping he fails.
And hoping
That's
he
what's
fails.
sad.
Yep.
And we as Americans need to stand together more than ever. We need to go out and vote in November.
Yeah.
We need to help this man continue to save America.
Yeah, and slightly off topic, but I think we should bring it up, is Australia. Need to send thoughts and prayers
Yes,
and everything.
absolutely.
A couple hundred people have been arrested for arson while our leftist media portrays it as climate change.
Oh, my gosh.
But
I did-
millions and millions of animals have died. Thousands of
Yeah.
people are in toxic.
I did see or a few days ago. I don't know when this one. Oh, it drops today. A couple of days ago, they had a massive rain,
Oh, really?
which was good, and so
Good.
they showed firefighters like rejoicing.
Yeah.
Now it's still, I mean
it's
devastating, still going.
Those people
but
need to pay.
And let's also,
severely.
America, pay attention to what's going on in Virginia
Yes.
as well.
Absolutely.
Our friends at Red Arrow Weapons are fighting this battle right now. They obviously sell rifles, and that's where their business is in Virginia. And Virginia is trying to take away the Second Amendment completely.
Completely. Gun ranges, ARs,
And
nothing.
Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, to what is going on in
That's
our
scary.
country. Obviously, if you don't live in Virginia, but we as Americans can stand with Virginians
Right.
while they are fighting this battle against the horrific governor. How he still governs beyond me, Ralph Northam, and
Baby killer,
all
racist.
of those horrible people. Pay attention. Red Arrow Weapons, we love you guys. You support us, we support you. You're fighting a big battle right now, and we stand with you.
Yeah.
That is it for this breaking news edition of the Dear America podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We thank you for listening. Monday episode, Dan Crenshaw and his wife Tara are
wonderful.
with us. Stay tuned. It's going to be a good thing. Alyssa, where can they find you?
Alyssa Allen on Instagram.
Jake?
Producer_Jake on Instagram.
And of course, I am Graham Allen. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dear America podcast, and we'll see you all again next time.
Bye.